And we've got Nan Bosler, who was president of the Northern Beaches Computer Powers, and she's going to welcome to country. Welcome, Nan. Let's give her a clap.
Welcome, everybody. Allow me to recognise that we are meeting today on the land of the Greengard land of our Northern Ocean and pay our respects on your behalf to elders, past, present, and emerging.
Once again, I would want to just welcome everyone here. My name is Judy Elias, and I'm now the new president of Northern Beaches Computer Powers. Thank you. And it's just magic to see that there's so many people. Oh, I see some faces that I haven't seen. Ex-president. Yeah, there's a lot of faces here that I haven't seen before, that I've seen before, and it's nice to see them. I'd love to have a chat after our presentation. Now, does everyone know where the facilities are? I think that's probably the major thing. Just towards the back, right at the end there, the ladies and the gents. And we have the lift that you can use to exit or from here. And also, I know that we've got some beautiful, beautiful food to eat after our presentation. So, without further ado, I'm just going to call the presentation, the AI presentation is in two sections. One section will be Ian. Now, Ian White is a tutor or a trainer at Northern Beaches Computer Powers, and also he trains at Avalon Computer Powers. So he jockeys between both computer powers. So Ian will be doing the first part of the presentation, and that'll be probably about, I don't know how long, Ian, about half an hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then after I will do my presentation, and that's about 15 minutes. And if you don't mind, can you just wait for the questions after the presentation? Hold them back, because any questions might disturb the flow of our presentation, and it will just extend the presentation for longer than the time that we have booked in this hall here. So, Ian, are you ready? Ian, can I? So, as you know, the presentation we're doing is on AI, and I'm absolutely wrapped in AI. And I know a lot of people are feeling a little bit hesitant about using AI, and it seems that we are forced to use AI. But you will find that it's quite useful in many, many ways if you just accept it. How are we going again? Okay, so let me just introduce Ian, and thank you. Round of applause.
You're using Google, aren't you? So this slide is talking about things called LLMs. And when you go into these products, it's a bit scary, but they mention models and LLMs. So you can see there are lots of different ones, some from Microsoft, some from Claude, GPT. They're all just, a model is just where they've trained their computer. They're giving it everything on the internet, every book that's ever written, scripts, so that these things learn language. They're called large language models, LLM. So we'll use that term, LLM or model, interchangeably. So what is an AI model, or an LLM? It's a computer that's been trained, and it's read the billions of words from every book, every website, and it learns grammar, so it learns to speak naturally. And when you talk to it, it understands what you're saying. You know, when you write an email, you type a word, and often it will tell you what's coming next. It's got an inkling of what should come next. And there are some specialist versions of these models, like there are some for health. So if you build one of these huge models for healthcare, you'll add in all the electronic health records, medical and research papers. For legal, you'll be adding policies, industry standards, and this will help lawyers do case law. So that's transformed the legal industry. I think they're quite worried because you can just use your AI now to research a case. You don't need to pay so many researchers. And again, in finance, AI is helping people invest their money. For creativity, some of you may already have played with chatbots to write stories, and you'll notice now on your iPhones and on your Macs that it will offer to help you write things, write emails and write stories. And for people like me, even coders, it will write code for us. So again, there are specialist models for coders. They'll put in every piece of code that's ever been written. They've got their hands on, and it will learn from that. Now, an interesting model that I found out about is called EduChat. So the New South Wales schools, they've actually taken their own AI. They're taking their own model. So that the kids, because there's this problem that we've had so far, kids would go and do their homework by going to their chatbot and asking, can you do this homework for me? This is my essay. So what the New South Wales government developed is a chatbot that the kids can use in school. When it asks them to do their homework, it will help them with it, but it won't just spit out the answer. It might give them a quiz. So the government are thinking about this problem. Now the thing is, these models, they're trained, so it might take a few months to train one of these large models. But once they're trained, they're in ice. It's frozen knowledge. So you train the model, you put it online, and then millions of us, we ask it questions, we ask it to do things. So it's frozen knowledge. If you ask a chatbot what's in the news today, it won't be able to tell you. Because when you go to your search engine and do a search, it's using the model for the language, but also it's going out into the internet. So there are ways to get around this. So the second stage, once they've fed these billions of words and books, all this information into these models, the next thing they have to do is fine-tune it. And this is the hard part. It has to, they have to be trained not to insult you, to show you bad material. It shouldn't lie to you. It shouldn't give you illegal stuff. So you might have heard Brock's been letting people upload pictures and then they can say, take the clothes off that person. So this is where the training comes in. So this problem of the models being frozen, there are a couple of products that I want to talk about where if you want to actually do some research into the subject, these two products, there's Perplexity, which is just another chatbot, but it's a chatbot that's, it knows to go out into the internet, and it's very good at citing every answer, every interaction it has with you. It will give you the references and citations. So it's actually less risky for hallucination. It's not really going to lie to you because it's going out and using real information that's on the whole live internet. Now, Notebook LM is from Google, and this is really good if you want to analyse information that you don't really want to give to the world. Because when you talk to these chatbots, they already know everything about you, because Google know everything that you've been searching for the last 20 odd years. So these companies know you better than you know yourselves. It's true. But sometimes you want to ask it questions about documents that you don't get meant to use and share with others, because every time you interact, it keeps a record of that. That's in your profile. So every time you interact, it goes into your profile, they know more about you, they know your interests. So you don't want to be sharing personal information. So this is what Notebook LM is very good for. Whether you realise it or not, you're already using AI. For example, who uses Siri? Not many. Yeah, not many people yet are using Siri. And with Google Assistant, Android users, not many people, a few. Yeah. And most of us now are using our fingers and our faces on our phones to unlock. Okay. So what the things that we take for granted, a lot of us now have got these watches, fall detection, and they'll detect if we've got a dodgy ticker, all kinds of things these pick up. Now you'll notice here, the phone's ringing, and there's an extra button, the screen call button. And a lot of people aren't aware of this. Your phone rings usually in the afternoon and it's a scam call. It's a number that you don't recognise and you might just let it ring. You might not answer it. Generally, don't answer if you don't know what the number is, because it's probably going to be someone selling you gas and electricity. But if you put call screening on your phone, and the reason I mention this is because every one of you should be able to just turn this on. It's there for Google phones and Samsung phones and all the iPhone users. You can set this up quite simply. So what happens, the phone rings and you get your usual answer call and decline call. But if you press the screen call, the person ringing you will hear a message. This call is being handled by a screening service, saying your business. Now, actually, actually, this by coincidence, the phone rang this morning, and there was an 02800 and something number that I knew must be a spammer. But what I did, I read on the screen, because it says state your business. So as they tell you what they want, you see it appear on your screen. So what appeared on, I glanced down at the screen, and it was Maria from New South Wales Payments. So she was looking for me to pay my fine, and I'd actually, on the web, I'd gone and I'd appealed the fine. So I picked up the call, so I saw it was a proper call, and had the conversation. And she said to me, it's a good job you picked up the call, because if it had just gone back into the computer, you might have had to pay the fine. And that was a parking fine here, $705. So that saved me $700. But being able to screen the call is useful, because we do get a lot of spam calls. And I just wanted to mention it because you've all got it on your phones, but you're not using it. And the next thing is we've got these fantastic photo apps. We've got Apple Photos and Google Photos. And these let you do things like removing stuff from your picture. So you tap on the button and it disappears. Hopefully most of you by now have used Google Lens. So when you're in the garden, you will know what that plant is. Use Google Lens, you take a picture, and it will come back and tell you the Latin name and where you can buy them, things like that. So here's an example. Using Google Lens, took a picture of the dog and it came back and said that's the Labradoodle and I can find out more. Now, that's been around a long time with the Google users, but I think Apple users not so much have been using that. But that's there. You've actually got that on your phones and iPads. You just might not realise that you've got it. So I'll give you an example of that. And that's what Google Lens gave me. Because this, actually I took a photo of that screen, so this is now in Apple Photos. And if you look at the eye at the top, if you look at the eye next to the bin, it's got a little star with it, and it's telling you that it's recognised something in the picture. So when I click on that, you see it's got look up dog. And then when I click on the dog, it's going to do the same thing. So you've got this kind of functionality in the Apple Photos, you just might not be aware that you've got it. Here's an example. This is an example of how you can use the AI to clean up photos. So we've got a photo here that needs cleaning up. So what I'll do, I'll go back to that picture. So you'll notice here, when I click on the, I'll show you. Go back again. You see the icon next to the eye, so that's where you want to make an edit to a photo. So if I click on that, then it comes up with lots of tools. One of them is cleanup. You can crop your photo as well. So hopefully most of you are aware of this because we're all taking pictures and videos all the time. Now if I click on cleanup, so the AI is going to look at the picture and analyse the picture. It's already suggesting to me there are bits that I can clean up. So I tap on those.
Just while Ian's trying to get that sorted, just out of interest, how many people are coming from the north side of Narrabeen Bridge? Show of hands. Okay, quite a number. And so the rest are. What about over the other side of the Harbour Bridge? Has anyone travelled that far with the petrol strike, with the petrol deal? No. Okay. And how many people belong to a different computer power club on the northern beaches? Show of hands. What club do you belong to? Manly? Oh, good. I used to be part of Manly.
Okay, lost my connection. All the fancy editing that you can do in these marvellous photos, pictures, that's thanks to people like this, the godmother and the godfather of AI. And these people make this possible. Now, the history, the evolution of intelligence, we need another presentation to do that. So at some stage I may do that for those that are interested in how we got to where we are today. But it's a very rich history and there's a lot of really interesting characters. But anyway, in a nutshell, this lady, what she decided was that for image recognition you need lots and lots of examples. With AI, it's not about creating an algorithm, knowing how to solve the problem, because we don't know how to solve all the problems. The way we learn as humans, the way our brain works, is we just have lots of examples. And the brain, our neural network, we have a network in our head that makes relationships and connections from all the inputs that we get, the things we see, what we touch, what we hear, all our senses. So this lady decided to create a database of every kind of image. So there was a dictionary was created for unique names, standardised names for everything. And then this database has got 14 million images. And that's enabled all the clever people around the world to develop image recognition apps. And that's where we are today. And the other guy, Jeffrey Hinton, his idea of how you want
Yeah.
to play.
Okay.
So Geoffrey Hinton, he realised early on that the way to model the brain is as a network, a neural network. So these breakthroughs make a big difference. And this is the other big development that's given us AI today. You remember we used to put cards in computers and there was always like a graphics card. And these were called GPUs. It's a company called NVIDIA. And about 12 years ago, they realised that these things are really good for AI because they're very good at mathematics. And suddenly, everything took off because these data centres, they're full of these GPUs. They're everywhere. So this is a letter. This is a letter that I've received, for example, and it's sort of gobbledygook. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to. So what I really want to do, I want the AI to explain that to me. That's okay. Let's see what I can find here. I'll come back to that. Come back to that one. So, Gemini, the chatbot, can make my life easier. It's got things called Gemini Gems. When I have a conversation with it, it might be something that I want to do quite often, so I can save that conversation. So they've got this concept of creating a gem. So I've got 3 gems that I've created. So, for example, this one, the leader of the pack, Anne Matthews, who keeps us all in line, she publishes the rosters. And the way she does that, she sends out an email, and when she updates it, we get another email. So in our email box, nestled somewhere in our email box, are various rosters. And I asked the AI, go into my Gmail and pick out the latest one, so it saves me having to go in and delete. Similarly, I could do the same for the rosters in Avalon Pals. And then you can just do mundane things like show me the emails I haven't read this week. And it will go into your email and do that for you. So people are using this more and more to automate everyday things. I think you start to see that a lot of this AI is really for business, it's really for people that are working to make things easier. Another thing that you can use Gemini for is for learning. So we're in Gemini here, and you see it's got various buttons. It asks, what do you want to do? So if I explain this screen, because I want you to use this. So what you've got on the left there, you've got, if I press that icon next to Gemini, it pops out what's on the left. And now I can create a new chat. and I can also look at any gems I've created, or I can look at a history of previous chats. And then down here, I can tell it the kind of model I want. I can type in here. I can add things into it. So, for example, I might want the AI to look into my Google Drive or to look at one of my documents. So, for example, here it says, well, what do you want to upload? Do you want me to take a photo, or I've got some files you want me to look at to analyse? Now, I mentioned earlier about LLMs and models. All of these chatbots, they do give you different LLMs to use. And some actually are free, and a lot of them, most of them, you need to be paying for. So, and they do different things. So if you use Gemini to answer your question, it might take 5 or 10 minutes, and it will say come back. Whereas if you need an answer quickly, you'll use this model. It's a cut-down model. So using the right model for the job is quite important. Now this one on the right here, I've gone into live mode. So Gemini's listening to me now. I'm now having a live conversation. Hi Gemini.
Hello, how can I help you today?
What I'd like to do, actually stop there, I'm going to ask Veronica to do something. So Veronica, so this is an example of This is an example with Veronica of using AI to do some study.
Thank you, first of all, for all that you've given us. You have taught me so much, and I appreciate it. So I can't tell you, I knew nothing about computers until I met this gentleman. And now I'm feeling I'm learning, and I'm so grateful. And I'm off for a trip to Vietnam, and I was terrified, I'm going off to Vietnam. And you introduced me to Gemini. I learned about the dog. I'm learning the language, and I've learned about the hotel where I'm staying. There's nothing that it doesn't answer, and it does it in such a friendly manner. And the first, I didn't like a female voice, and I got a male voice that's very calming, relaxing. And I really recommend if you're going on a trip, embrace it, because it's helped me enormously.
Let's show where you were asking it to teach you. We'll do it on this one.
So,
Yes.
it's scary AI, but it also can give you lots. It's given me courage to do my trip without being
Okay, Gemini.
I can talk underwater.
Okay,
Oops,
Gemini.
it looks like I tried to end the show.
Okay, Gemini. Veronica's going to Vietnam, and she wants you to teach her some basic Vietnamese sayings.
Hello, Gemini. Could you please tell me how to say thank you?
Absolutely. To say thank you in Vietnamese, you say cảm ơn. Would you like to know how to say anything else?
Yes, how to say goodbye?
You can say Don Viet for a general goodbye, or just ciao if you're talking to friends. Interestingly, ciao is also used for hello. Anything else you might need to know?
Can you quiz us? So ask us a few questions back so we can practice.
Okay, here we go. How do you say thank you in Vietnamese?
Chào con.
That's almost right. It's cảm ơn. Now, how about saying goodbye? That's right. That's it. You got it. You can use ciao for both hello and goodbye. Ready for another one? Maybe something new?
Thanks for that. Well, so anything you want to learn, you can go to your chatbot and tell it, going on holiday, you want to learn a language, you name it, it will teach you. Back to the presentation. Thanks for that, Veronica, that was brilliant.
Thank you.
Now there's a bad side to all this wonderful stuff that you can do with AI. It will never tell you that it doesn't know something, or very, very rarely, it will just tell you something that's not true. I'm not sure why that is, but it seems to be common to all the chatbots. So you have to be very wary of what it's telling you. Scams and fakes, well, you know now, when someone rings up, it's very easy to get hoodwinked. And of course, when you're watching AI, when you're watching YouTube, there are deep fakes. And you just, these days, you can't tell what's real and what isn't. Of course, you have to be careful about what you type into these things, because everything is used to train, so be careful about what you tell it. And the big one is a term, has everyone heard of AI slop? I thought by now everyone would have heard of this because it's so prevalent. And this is an example, a serious example.
My smoke alarm is beeping, presumably because the battery is dead. Should I remove the battery to stop the noise, or should I replace the battery?
Replace it. Pulling the battery stops the beeping, sure, but now you've got no smoke alarm, and if something actually catches fire tonight, you're toast, literally. Just grab a 9-volt from the drawer, swap it in, takes 30 seconds. Beep gone, safety back. Unless you're planning to sleep in a house with
Okay, but if I swap the battery but then it keeps beeping?
then it's not the battery. Could be dust. Blow it out with a can of air or a quick vacuum. Or the
Let's say that I do that and it's still beeping.
Then you're in the it's possessed zone. Step 1, unplug it from the mains if it's hardwired. Some have both battery and power, and the backup battery's just mocking you. Step 2, if it's still going, smash it. Seriously, take it outside, whack it with a hammer. Not elegant, but effective.
Okay, so when my fire alarm is beeping, my smoke alarm is beeping, and I've tried swapping the battery, I've tried pulling the hard wire as you suggest, and it's still beeping, you say I take it outside and smash it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the point of this exercise is obviously to experiment with AI a little bit. It's a bit of fun, a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but it just shows you that without training AI properly, you get mixed results. Sometimes you will get
What I was about to tell you there is, it didn't mention the most. Oh, sorry. So what it didn't mention there, what it should have told you, is that it could have been carbon monoxide poisoning, which you wouldn't know anything about. So that's why you have to be very careful about what you're being told by the AI. It could miss things or just lie to you. Now, a really ugly side is these deep fakes. And of course, there's a hidden cost to this. And again, for me to go in depth into this, it would really extend this talk. So basically, there are two things that are going on. The environment is being affected because these data centers are using lots of water, lots of energy, and they're creating lots of noise. The other thing is there are humans around the world being paid a few cents a day to verify the images that are being generated and to moderate the content that's being put out there to try and So a couple of videos. There's this video. And there's this one.
The U.S. Capitol are still on long after midnight. Phones are buzzing in silence. Aides are rushing through hallways, and Republican lawmakers are asking each other a question they never thought they'd have to ask out loud. Who is going to stop Donald Trump? Because what is unfolding right now is not a routine political scandal or another fleeting headline.
So, of those two, which one was the real one? The guy telling you about Donald Trump or the magpies?
No way to know. How do you know?
There were some clues. No, the magpies was real. That was on my balcony. So the fake was that guy who's a very esteemed law professor. So when I first saw that, I got quite excited because he's basically saying for a year the GOP have been and the Justice Department have been getting ready to get rid of Donald Trump, but no one knew it. We thought, oh great. And actually, it was all made up. And the clue to that, if you click through that into that guy's channel, the people that create that, you get an idea. This channel is full of slop. So it's all like clickbait. The person producing that is probably some youngster, and they earn money from the views. They're getting lots of views on these. And when I've looked at the description of that, there's not much description. But you'll see here, the disclaimer. All narration is generated using AI voice technology, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of what you're seeing on YouTube is slop, and it just looks so good. It's getting harder and harder to spot. And then there's this issue of data centers.
AI is already part of our everyday lives.
Today in Sydney, it'll be raining.
From checking the weather in the morning,
Here's the latest news.
to mapping our way to work.
Use the right lane to turn right on Madison Road.
And now, generative AI, which is everything from that autocomplete function on your emails to sophisticated chatbots and image generators. All of this uses a lot of energy and resources. And that has a lot of people asking, is AI bad for the environment? Estimates that a 100-word email generated by ChatGPT-4 could gulp down around half a litre.
During the winter, it's like, almost like an engine trying to start.
So how many data centers are there in the US? And is there enough power and water to satisfy a building boom that is only just getting started? We're straight into a residential area. And you can start to see why these data centers are so controversial. There's boxes on the roof there, that's the ventilation for the cooling systems to keep those hundreds and hundreds of servers from overheating and overloading. And these are running 24/7.
So it's not an American problem, it's our problem now, because the second highest number of hosting sites for these data centres is Australia. And we're already starting to see on the ABC issues down in Melbourne, people that live within earshot of these things. So it's a big Australian problem. And over in the Quarry Park, where all the companies are, there's a lot of data centres there. So it's going to be a big issue in Australia. And what this is showing is the energy usage. So it's trying to say that to train one of those models, there are lots of models. So Microsoft and Google have got their own models. There's Claude, lots of different uses. So to train one model, say it takes 90 days, saying it's 44 gigawatt hours. And then once that thing's online, over the next 90 days, see the figures. So the energy usage of these things over time just goes up and up. It's just the energy demand. And also to keep them cool. And the bottom line of this is that in Australia, and it's worse for America, they've got all these AIs and they all need lots and lots of energy, and they haven't been doing anything about renewable energy. So they're just going to keep using oil. You might have noticed there's an oil crisis at the moment, there's an energy crisis. And then if you look at China, China have got 609 gigawatts of solar, 441 of wind, and they've got 27 nuclear reactors. And I mention that because we've been told for many, many years by our politicians that the Chinese aren't doing anything. So just be aware, Chinese have got renewable energy. And I can think the only country that can catch up to that would be us. So let's hope our government are aware of that as well. So yeah, that's the ugly side of AI. So Australia is the second highest builder of these things. Everyone's here. Amazon, Microsoft. This is a big Microsoft customer here. So we're a major hotspot. Okay. One of the problems we're starting to see is that these things are being so overused now, these chatbots, that there's start to see this. And this is why more and more of us, if we use it regularly, we have to have pro accounts. So all this stuff is free, but once you start using it in your daily lives, you'll probably be paying Google or whoever $20 a month for the privilege. A bit like the Microsoft users already pay for 365. This is actually not quite true. The more you use artificial intelligence, if you use it in the wrong way. So when you're using this, make sure that if it's teaching you something, ask it to quiz you as well, because you need to use that knowledge. Don't just ask and get a response and store it somewhere. Actually, you need to use that response so it sinks in. Yeah. I think we'll finish there. Thanks a lot.
Ian goes into a great lot of depth about AI, but I come from a different angle. My background is graphic art, so I'm using AI for to generate videos and animations and a whole stack of different things. So if you just give me 1 second, I'm just going to switch over to my computer. I've done a smaller presentation, and it will only take, I'd say, about 10 minutes. And let me just see. Graphic. This was given to us by someone in Newcastle Computer Powers, and they just sent it to me, and what I thought we'd do is generate in Pixel Create, we'd make the image dance. So with Pixel Create, which is a chat box, all we had to do was create a prompt, and the prompt was make image dance. So and all it did was, this is making the image dance. So how good's that? I mean, all it's done is using the prompt, I'll just show you again because I think it's pretty cool. So how about that? So it's got this artificial intelligence happening in the background, which allows those women to dance. So the next slide that I thought was quite interesting that I'd like to show you. Again, I've got this image from someone, and you can all do this. It's just so damn easy. Again, use Pixel Create, and then use a prompt. And in the prompt I used was make a young girl's face change into a smiling, ugly old lady with teeth missing in the attached image. So, guess what it's done? It's done it. So I'll just go back and give you another glance at what it's done. It looks like that. And out comes the face and an ugly old woman. So please, just think to yourself, you don't have to have any artistic skill. Just use AI, prompt it, use Pixel Create. It's free. A lot of these are free. I've got a list at the end of this presentation that gives you a list of all the different AIs that are free, and then after a period of time, then they'll say, oh, you've got to join. But you don't. You just give it another day, and you go back, and it's free again. So there's a lot of skill, there's a lot of know-how too, how to get around it. And this, of course, you're going to use AI all the time to generate various different things. It's unnecessary to pay for AI or any of the AI. Here's another slide I thought might be interesting. So this one here, I'm also part of what they call Spill the Beans, which is a writing community, a local writing community. And I've done a lot of AI presentations for them. And this is just one little quick video I did, really brief. And it was generated, the actual image was generated with Gemini, and then Canva created the animation and the sound. Listen to this.
Hello, Spill the Beans writers. Welcome, and get ready to cast your votes. Woo!
So I simply, actually, that wording was the prompt. Whatever she was saying, I prompted her to say that, and that's what she said. The next one I'd like to show you also, I've used Meta to generate that image, and it's not free, Firefly, using this prompt. Animate image with champagne glass being topped up from the champagne bottle and the smartphone. So look, watch this one. I mean, how cool is that? It's just animated that image of its own accord. I'll just show you again. Oops.
Hello, Spill the Beans writers. Welcome.
Here we go. Now the next one, this lady, Meta created this image. I did a prompt that I said I wanted the lady to look like that. And then I used Hey Jen, which is another chatbot. And Hey Jen created the following. Just listen to this.
Hello to all at Computer Pals. It's 2026 and guess what? I'm about to figure out how my smartphone can be my encyclopedia of info. Can't wait. Term 1 is offering me one-on-one personal lessons, group sessions, social events, and a free newsletter subscription. How valuable is all that for a truly small fee? How do these volunteers do it? Can't say more than thanks heaps.
Now I gave her the words, and she's just generate, and that's what HeyGen does. It specifically makes an image talk in sync with whatever wording you give it. So that's another interesting aspect without you having to really do very much. But get the right prompts, get the right image, and away you go. The next one I'd like to show you is this lady once again. Generated, as I said, with Meta, and also Meta created the animation. No sound. I didn't. So basically, all I did was put that image in and asked it to throw the phone up. That was the prompt. And that's what Meta did. And it only takes seconds, by the way. It doesn't take a long time at all to generate any of these animations that I'm showing you. Now we had, Spill the Beans, we had an AGM the end of last year, and I wanted to show them at Spill the Beans what can be done with AI. So this whole presentation was done with Gemini and Pixverse, and all the images were generated with Gemini, and all the animations with Pixverse. Now it goes on for a long time, and I'm going to do a very short part of it. So just watch how this pans out. So the whole idea was to find someone who did all these different things, and all this was generated with AI. All the images, the animation, and the whole lot. And it isn't that difficult to do. You've just got to have the imagination and the right prompts. So this is what we presented at the AGM at the end of last year. So we had, and this one, we had the first time someone published in the Beans. This next one, all of them, but this will be the last one I'll show you at there. So I'll move forward to the next slide. But this is all done with AI. Let me move on to the next slide. Now this is interesting too. With Spill the Beans, we wanted to just, we did this, and the image was generated with ChatGPT and the animation with Pixverse. And I'm going to show you the prompts that I used running through ChatGPT and then Pixverse, just on this one. So here we go. That's the end result. So ChatGPT did the illustration, Pixverse did the animation with the jug pouring the milk. Now this is what it looks like right at the very beginning. The prompt, if you can see at the very top there, I asked it to generate an image of a bird's eye view of a cup of coffee showing the pattern in the milk with the words "Happy Writing New Year" from the bees in colours yellow, orange and purple. And this is what the screen looks like when you're actually generating a prompt. It's as simple as that. You just type that in, or you, as Ian mentioned, you can just use the microphone to voice it in. So it's come up with that. Now, I didn't like that. It came up with all that purple stuff and I didn't really like it. So moving forward, the next prompt I gave it, because you can continue with the prompts, just keep going on and on. Then I said I'll change the colours to browns and whites. That's what it came up with. And the next prompt then I've gone, angle the coffee cup to see more of the white cup on an orange table. It came up with that. And the next prompt I gave it was, whatever I said there, emboss the words. So there you have, that's the image I've generated just from using that, all those different prompts, because you go on and on and on and on. I thought, okay, that looks pretty cool, I like that. So now let's animate it. So what I did is I went to Pixverse Create. That's what the window looks like when you use Pixverse Create. And the top right, you can see, well, you probably can't read it, but the prompt I used was the pattern milk swirls around inside the cup, and a very small jug of milk is gently poured into the cup with the words 2026 in the colour of bright orange embossed in the milk, and all the other words disappear. Well, it didn't do everything. Not all the other words disappeared, but I thought I'll leave it alone and let it do what I was happy with it. So that's what it came up with. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's 33 of these free chat box, and you can use all of them at any time, and all you have, and actually this table I have actually generated with AI. See, like all those columns, I asked AI to generate all the columns and do a description, etc., etc. So, I mean, it would have taken me forever to put that together. Now, I just want to say one more, if we've got time, we've got just time? No. I'd like to just run through a couple of podcasts that are really interesting, that I thought I'd love to show you, for you to listen to, because they relate to what's happening now. This particular one, I listened to, it's not 30, the actual podcast is 32 minutes, but in fact, I've just taken about a minute of it, less than a minute of it, just to give you an overall understanding of what they're talking about with cognitive neuroscience. And Joel Pearson is the guy that's being interviewed here. I don't know if you listen on the radio to it's too loud. I don't know. When you listen to Radio National, this is where I've been getting this. Now this is I'll just play this and just listen to what they say about the cognitive thing about AI.
Curious to know, what's your sort of most pressing concern in terms of how AI is messing with our psychology?
Yeah, I think no matter which angle you come at it, the elephant in the room has to be uncertainty and change. And I think we mentioned this last time maybe, but people are starting to feel like things are changing because they feel they can't predict what's going to happen next week, if their job's going to be around in a few years, both geopolitically but also with AI just starting to change the landscape. And we know from neuroscience and psychology that uncertainty does trigger sort of a stress anxiety response in almost all animals. It puts people in this fight or flight state, so simply not knowing what the future will bring is very uncomfortable for people. But I do think when you look at how quickly things are changing, that we are going to see massive change in every level of society. From jobs, of course, education, of course, the economy is going to change, grow into some kind of beast we can't even imagine yet. You know, what we think of as retirement, the way we bring up our children, entertainment, the food we use. So every strata of our society. So this is sort of societal disruption on a massive scale.
So, I mean, that's quite interesting. I've got the link to this at the end of this. I've got this one more, and then we're finished. I've got a link to this if anyone wants to hear more about it, and it's very, very interesting. So it goes for 32 minutes. The next one, which I listened to last night, and I thought, got to include this one. So this is from Don Tapscott, and he's talking about the 3 AIs, but the one that he's saying that now is the one that we can look forward to, or is about to happen, or is happening, is the identic AI. So just listen to what he has to say.
You explore something called identic AI, which is the digital twin of a human. Can you please explain?
Picture sometime this year, before you wake up, a personal AI agent has scanned your health data, checked your schedule, flagged the traffic delay, and curated and summarized the day's news, identified a couple of articles that you actually care about, reminds you of your sister's birthday, and outlines several conferences that it will attend on your behalf. And before you get to the office, your agent has updated your agenda, but it's done a lot more than that. It's not just an assistant. It's solved a bunch of problems. It's drafted replies to emails. It's optimized a production schedule. You had some customer problems solved. Later, it compares your monthly spending to long-term goals, recommends a dietary tweak, and a recommendation to change your workout schedule. So what we're talking about is AI changing from what we think of it today. Right now, we think about generative AI, where AI is really a bunch of tools to solve problems. And then the next stage was something called agentic AI, where agents could take action without prompting. But now, the really important agents, the one that really matters, are not the ones in supply chains or call centers or financial systems. They're personal agents. They're digital Lisa. And digital Lisa is going to be your consigliere, your doctor, your mentor, your planner, your counselor. These agents will learn our habits, they'll honor our values, they'll anticipate our needs, while hopefully propelling our abilities forward. And this may sound futuristic, but the foundations are already there, and I have an agent. He does stuff on my behalf.
So there you have it. These are the links. If you're interested, you can just email me at that. So those chat boxes I showed you, the 33, please just let me, I want to send them to you, because you can just read all of them, what they are and what they do. And as I said, they're all free initially. Then the podcast, if you're interested any further, the whole 30 odd minutes of both of them. So yeah, that's it. So I hope this has just excited you a little bit more, not frightened you away, but just given you a bit of an inkling of what AI now is all about. And it's changing on like a minute to minute, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year basis. It's just incredible. And like I was saying, it is change, and I guess we have to run with it. So thank you all very, very much for coming.